Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 36. Sukham tva idanim trividham shinu me bharatashabaha abhyasad ramate yatra dukhantam na nikachati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. So we have been hearing in this 18th chapter how Krishna is so detailed explaining, what kind of determination, how many different kinds of determination there are, how many different kinds of worship there are, how many different kinds of intelligence, and all this he's saying for us to realize where do we stand and where do we want to go. Krishna is giving us the information. This is not for us to point fingers at anyone else. This is for us to realize what do I want? What choices do I want to make? And by making these choices, what destiny am I creating for myself? What future bodies am I creating for myself? So he's helping us to make informed decisions. A conditioned soul tries to enjoy material happiness again and again. So we can see, why do we do anything? Why do we get out of bed? Why do we take the trouble to do anything? It's because we feel that when I do this, I'm going to be happy. That's the purpose that we do the things. But in the material world, what is it said? Thus, he chews the chewed. That's a very strong statement. Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam, he says that in the material world, we are chewing the chewed. What does chewing the chewed mean? I don't know if you all have ever eaten a chewing gum. So we chew the chewing gum, till there is no juice left in it. And then that same chewing gum, we keep it somewhere. And somebody comes and picks it up and tries to chew it and see how much juice is there from it. And then he finds that, oh, there is no juice, so he keeps it. Somebody else picks it up and tries to chew it. Now, this sounds all gross. It sounds, so atrocious. But this is what we are doing in the material world. We are trying to find happiness where there isn't. Repeatedly, people have done those activities. Repeatedly. And they never found any happiness. But we are thinking, they were not as intelligent as me. I can show them how to do it better. I'm smarter. I will show them how to be happier in this material world. But sometimes in the course of such enjoyment, he becomes relieved from material entanglement by association with a great soul. In other words, a conditioned soul is always engaged in some type of sense gratification. But when he understands by good association that it is only a repetition of the same thing, and he is awakened to his real Krishna consciousness, he is sometimes relieved from such repetitive so-called happiness. So how can we get relief from this material entanglement? Only when we come in touch with a devotee. Only a devotee will tell us, hey, you're not the body. Why are you trying to waste your time finding happiness here, when there doesn't even exist permanent happiness? Sure, we have sense gratification. We are always engaged in some type of sense gratification. Sure, there is some enjoyment for the senses. The eyes feel happy to see something. The ears feel pleasure in hearing something. The tongue feels some pleasure in speaking about some words. Sure, that is there, but it's all short-lived, very temporary. And all this sense gratification binds us to take future births. It forces us to take on other forms of bodies, some of them which we don't even want to get into, but we are forced. But a devotee will tell us that you're the soul, my dear friend. Why you're wasting so much time and energy trying to find happiness in these things? Sure, you have to do these things because you're in the material body. You can't say, I'm gonna not eat anymore. Sure, you're gonna do this, but try to understand you're the soul. You have an eternal loving relationship with Krishna. And Krishna is waiting for us to go back to him with open arms That's the reason he comes time and again. We just celebrated Janmashtami 2 days ago. Why did Krishna come 5,000 years ago? To tell us, to show us his pastimes, that come with me to the spiritual world, come to Golok Vrindavan with me and see how I'm living there, enjoying with my Brajbasi friends there. Why are you being here in this material world thinking artificially that you are the body? Because we thinking that we are the body is an artificial state of mind, whereas our real state is Krishna consciousness. So Krishna comes himself, and then what does he do? He also sends his pure devotees. Yesterday we celebrated appearance day of our dear Srila Prabhupada. So Krishna either comes himself or he sends his pure devotees. Why? To attract us, to tell us, you're the soul, come back home. Don't think that this is your permanent home. That's the reason he keeps coming. And that's his compassion on us. That's his love. That's the love of the pure devotee. So reading on text, any questions or comments?
All good.
All good. Okay, text 37. Yattad agre vishvam eva pariname amritopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. That which in the beginning may just be like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. So that which may be just like poison, in the beginning is like poison, but at the end is like nectar. Now we don't like to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. We don't like to chant it. It's like, why am I wasting time? I have so many different things to do. There's no pleasure. I have so many different other things to talk about, so many friends to meet, so many engagements. You know, why am I chanting Hare Krishna? It's so terrible for me to chant. But if we continue chanting, it will be like nectar. So Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada also gives the example that when a person has jaundice, and what's the cure? At least in Prabhupada's time, the only cure was drinking sugarcane juice. And if you give sugarcane, so the nature of sugarcane juice is it's very, very sweet. But if you give the same sugarcane juice to a person who has jaundice, he's going to spit it out, he's going to vomit, and he'll say, why are you trying to poison me? Because of the diseased condition, the sugarcane juice appears to him, tastes to him like very, very bitter, that he can't take it. But what's the cure of jaundice? He has to continuously drink this sugarcane juice. And the more he drinks it, the more he gets cured. And the more he's getting cured, the more he can again and again taste the sweetness of the sugarcane juice. So same like us. We are in a disease condition right now. And what is our disease? We are thinking we are the body. We have forgotten that we are the soul. But if we just start chanting the Hare Krishna mantra regularly, we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Initially, we don't want to chant it, but the more we chant, we will feel the bliss of it. We will. So in the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and the senses and to concentrate the mind on the self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison. But if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys life. So the rules and regulations there are, Prabhupada has given us that no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. Now we might say, why do I have to follow all this? Same way as we go to the doctor, I have a stomach pain. What should I do? The doctor will give us some medicine to cure the stomach pain. At the same time, he will say, don't eat fried, don't eat spicy food, don't take milk, cream, heavy things, you know. But what will happen if we take the medicine, but we continue to indulge in these food stuff? We will continue to suffer. We won't get cured very easily. Our suffering will continue. And then if one friend comes and says, and suppose we are trying to really follow the diet, what the doctor has given. And then the friend says, hey, come, let's go and eat some pakoras. No, I have a stomach pain. My doctor told me don't eat. I'm taking medicine. Oh, just leave it. It's okay, you know. Don't be just so crazy. Nothing's going to happen with some pakora. So then we eat the pakora and we are enjoying it. Ah, you're my good friend. You're making me enjoy so nice. You're my friend, actually. And then what happens the next day? We suffer even more because our stomach pain has become even more. So who is our true friend? Is it the doctor, or is it our friend who encouraged us to eat the pakoras? Who is truly our friend? You know, that's something for us to think. So that's the reason the Vedas tell us, don't indulge in these four sinful activities. Why? Because they will be the cause of our suffering. How? They will continue to keep us here in the material world in different forms of life, in different bodies. And so engaging in devotional service initially seems like poison, but if we can just somehow or the other continue to hear and chant, we will taste the nectar, real nectar, and really enjoy life then, in the bliss of Krishna consciousness. So we can stop here for today. Any questions, comments?
Okay.
All good? Okay, so we can stop. Thank you so much for joining in. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna, Bhagavad Gita ki
Hare
jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura
Jai.
Premanande, Hari Hari.